I said, "I only married you because I was pregnant," and watched his whole world collapse right in front of me. I'll never forget the look on his face, like I just reached into his chest and crushed something. "My name's Shaniqua. I'm 28, and I need to tell somebody what happened because I'm still trying to process how my entire life imploded in a single afternoon. It started about a year ago when I met Marcus at my cousin's birthday party. He was fine as hell, tall, smooth skin, good job at an accounting firm, and drove a nice car. We exchanged numbers, went on a few dates, and ended up hooking up pretty regularly. I wasn't really looking for anything serious, just having fun, you know? But then my period was late, and 2 pregnancy tests later, I was freaking out in my bathroom. When I told Marcus I was pregnant, he wasn't even mad. He was actually happy, like genuinely excited about it, talking about how we could make it work, and how he'd always wanted to be a father. I was straight up panicking inside because this was not my plan. I had a job at a marketing agency I was just starting to get good at, a cute apartment with my roommate Tayshawn, and zero desire to be anybody's mama right then. But Marcus kept talking about us being a family, and honestly, the stability started sounding real good. My job wasn't paying that great. My credit was trash from some bad decisions in college, and Marcus had this nice 2-bedroom condo in a good neighborhood. So when he suggested we should get married, I didn't shut it down even though I wasn't in love with him. The proposal wasn't even romantic. We were eating takeout on his couch when he was like, "We should get married before the baby comes." No ring, no getting down on one knee, just practical planning. But 2 weeks later, he surprised me with this gorgeous diamond ring that probably cost him at least 2 months' salary. I said yes because it felt like the smart thing to do. We had a small courthouse wedding with just our immediate families. My mom was thrilled. She'd been dropping hints about grandkids for years. His parents seemed a little hesitant, like maybe they could sense I wasn't head over heels for their son, but they were polite and welcoming. Marcus looked at me like I was everything that day, and I tried my best to smile like I felt the same way. Moving into his place happened fast. I gave up my half of the apartment, packed up my stuff, and suddenly I was playing house with a man I'd known for less than 6 months. He cleared out his spare bedroom to make a nursery and would kiss my stomach every night, talking to the baby. It was sweet, but made me feel suffocated sometimes. The pregnancy wasn't bad at first, just some morning sickness and tiredness. Marcus downloaded all these baby apps on his phone, tracked my pregnancy week by week, and went to every single doctor appointment. He'd ask a million questions, take notes, and then research more when we got home. Meanwhile, I was just trying to wrap my head around how fast my life had changed. My friends noticed something was off. My girl Kiana straight up asked me if I actually loved him one night when we were having dinner. I dodged the question, but it stuck with me because the truth was, I didn't. I liked him fine how he was good-looking, kind, responsible, but that heart-racing, can't live without you love. Nah, I didn't feel that. And somewhere deep down, I was starting to realize I'd made a mistake. But I was already wearing his ring, carrying his baby, and living in his house. As my belly grew, so did the distance between us. Marcus didn't notice, though. He was too busy working extra hours for the family, building baby furniture, and planning for our future. I was watching my freedom slip away with every baby item that appeared in our home, feeling like I was playing a role in someone else's life story instead of living my own. By month 4 of my pregnancy, I was scrolling through my phone one night when I saw my ex DeAndre had posted some new pictures. We'd been on and off for years before Marcus, and seeing his face hit different. Before I knew it, I was in his DMs, just saying hey, asking how he'd been. That first message turned into hours of texting, and soon we were talking almost every day. I told myself it was innocent, just catching up with an old friend, but deep down, I knew what I was doing. Marcus would be at work, and I'd be FaceTiming DeAndre, laughing like I hadn't laughed in months. DeAndre knew I was married and pregnant, but he'd always say stuff like, "You know you were supposed to be with me," and part of me believed him. The more my stomach grew, the more trapped I felt, and DeAndre became my escape. I'd delete our messages every night before Marcus came home. I'd put on this whole act, the happy wife, excited about the baby while part of me was living in this fantasy world where I'd ended up with DeAndre instead. It got so bad that I'd make up excuses to leave the house just so I could call DeAndre without worrying about Marcus overhearing. Meanwhile, Marcus was killing himself to provide for us. He took on extra projects at work, got a promotion, and was putting money away for the baby's college fund before the kid was even born. He'd come home exhausted but still make time to rub my feet, cook dinner when I was too tired, and read all these parenting books. The guilt would hit me sometimes, but then I'd tell myself I was stuck in this life I never really chose. My friend Kiana caught on to what was happening with DeAndre. She pulled me aside at her house one day like, "Girl, what are you doing? Marcus is a good man." DeAndre ain't never been nothing but trouble. I got defensive real quick, saying she didn't understand my situation. She just shook her head and said, "You're playing with fire, and that baby don't deserve to get burned." But I kept right on with it. DeAndre started hinting about us having a future together, asking what I'd do if things didn't work out with Marcus. I never shut it down. Instead, I'd daydream about it, wondering if I could just start over once the baby came. The bigger my belly got, the smaller our apartment felt, and the more messages I sent to DeAndre. By the 6th month, I was wearing Marcus's ring, sleeping in Marcus's bed, and carrying Marcus's baby, but my heart was elsewhere. And the worst part? Marcus was so focused on being a good husband and father that he didn't see what was right in front of him. He trusted me completely, which made it way too easy to betray him. When the baby started kicking, Marcus would put his hand on my stomach with this look of pure joy. DeAndre would ask about the baby too, but it was different, more like an afterthought. Deep down, I knew who was really showing up for this child, but I wasn't ready to face that truth yet. 7 months pregnant, and Marcus decided we needed to have a baby shower. Not just any baby shower, he wanted it to be perfect. He started planning it 8 weeks in advance, calling my mom and sisters to coordinate, setting up a registry, booking a venue at this cute little event space downtown. I should have been excited, but all I felt was dread. A baby shower meant making this whole situation more real, more permanent. Every day it was something new about the shower. Marcus would come home like, "Babe, I found these cute custom invitations," or, "What do you think about a jungle theme for the nursery and shower?" I'd force a smile and nod, but inside I was screaming. The closer the date got, the more anxious I became. This wasn't just about celebrating a baby. It was about celebrating a marriage and family I wasn't sure I wanted. 3 weeks before the shower, I almost called DeAndre to come pick me up. I had my overnight bag packed and everything. But then Marcus came home early, with this tiny pair of baby Jordans he'd been searching everywhere to find, because he knew I'd mentioned wanting them once. The look on his face when he gave them to me, so hopeful. So loving I couldn't do it. I unpacked my bag while he was in the shower, and deleted the message I'd drafted to DeAndre. But the tension in our house was getting unbearable. I'd snap at Marcus for the smallest thing, show he breathed too loud, how he kept touching my stomach, how he'd ask about my day. One night, he planned this romantic dinner to celebrate hitting the 8-month mark, and I picked a fight about how he loaded the dishwasher. The hurt in his eyes should have stopped me, but I kept going, pushing him away because it was easier than admitting I'd made a mistake. The week of the shower, I was a complete mess. My hormones were all over the place, sure, but it was more than that. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat properly. Marcus noticed and tried to help, running me baths, bringing me tea, asking if I needed to see the doctor. His kindness just made me feel worse, more trapped, more like a fraud. The night before the shower, my phone buzzed with a text from DeAndre saying he was thinking about me. I stupidly left it unlocked on the counter when I went to the bathroom. I came back to find Marcus standing there, phone in hand, face completely blank. He didn't yell. He just asked, very quietly, "Who is DeAndre, and why is he sending you heart emojis at midnight?" I could have confessed everything then, begged for forgiveness, promised to cut DeAndre off completely. Instead, I went on the attack. I accused Marcus of invading my privacy, of being controlling, of not trusting me. I said DeAndre was just a friend, that Marcus was overreacting, that his jealousy was suffocating me. With each lie, my voice got louder, drowning out the guilt. Marcus didn't raise his voice once. He just stood there, taking it all, this look of confusion and hurt deepening on his face. When I finally ran out of steam, he just said, "I've been trying to figure out for months what I'm doing wrong. Why you seem so unhappy. Is it him? Have you been with him this whole time?" I should have stopped there. Should have backtracked, apologized, done damage control. But something in me snapped. All the resentment, all the feeling trapped, all the what-ifs about a life with DeAndre. Instead, it all came pouring out in the worst possible way. "You want to know the truth?" I shouted, my hands shaking. "I only married you because I was pregnant. I was never in love with you. I just needed stability, and you were convenient." The words hung in the air between us like something toxic. Marcus looked like I'd just shot him. He took a step back, hand actually going to his chest like he was checking for a wound. "What did you just say?" His voice was so quiet I almost didn't hear him, but there was no taking it back now. Something dark and ugly had taken over and I couldn't stop. "You heard me. This was never about love. I needed someone to help with this baby, and you were so eager to play house." It was easy. Each word was like twisting a knife, but I couldn't stop myself. "You think I wanted this life? Stuck in this apartment, playing wife to someone I barely know? I had plans before this baby happened." Marcus just stood there, completely still, like he was trying to process what he was hearing. When he finally spoke, his voice cracked. "So everything, our whole relationship, our marriage, it was all a lie?" For a split second, reality hit me what I was doing, what I was saying, how there would be no coming back from this. But pride and anger pushed me forward. "What did you expect? That I'd fall madly in love with you because you bought some baby shoes and planned a shower? That's not how it works." He looked down at the floor, and I saw a teardrop. Not dramatic sobbing, just this single, silent tear. Then he nodded slowly, like he was finally understanding something. Without a word, he walked to our bedroom. I heard drawers opening, closet doors, the sound of a duffel bag being zipped. "What are you doing?" I followed him, suddenly panicking. This wasn't supposed to happen. He was supposed to fight for us. Beg me to reconsider. Promise to make things better somehow. "I'm leaving." He wouldn't look at me. "The shower's all paid for. Everything's ready for tomorrow. You can tell everyone whatever you want about where I am." "You're seriously going to leave me the night before our baby shower? Because of one fight?" My voice had lost all its fire now, replaced by fear. He finally looked at me then, and I barely recognized him. "This isn't a fight, Shaniqua. This is you telling me our entire relationship is a fraud. That I've been living a lie for almost a year." He picked up his bag. "I can't be here right now. Maybe not ever." I grabbed his arm, suddenly desperate. "You can't just leave. What about the baby? Your family will be here tomorrow. My family will be here. What am I supposed to tell them?" His laugh was hollow. "Maybe try the truth for once. It seems like a good place to start." He gently removed my hand from his arm. "I love our baby. I'll support my child in every way. But I can't be with someone who just sees me as a convenience." Before I could say anything else, he was gone. The sound of the front door closing felt like a physical blow. I stood there in our bedroom surrounded by baby clothes, the crib he'd assembled, the rocking chair he'd bought because I mentioned once that my grandma had one, and the full weight of what I'd done came crashing down. I tried calling him immediately, straight to voicemail. Text went unread. I called his best friend Jamal, his brother, even his mom, but no one had heard from him. Or maybe they had, and they just weren't telling me. The night stretched endlessly as I alternated between rage, panic, and devastating regret. Morning came, and with it, reality. The baby shower was set to start at noon. The venue would be decorated by now. The caterer would be preparing food, guests would be wrapping presents. And I had no husband, no explanation that wouldn't make me look terrible, and a growing sense that I'd just destroyed something I couldn't fix. I considered canceling the whole thing, but my mom showed up at 10 a.m. to help me get ready. She took one look at my face and knew something was wrong. "Where's Marcus?" was her first question. I mumbled something about him running last-minute errands, but she didn't buy it. Still, she helped me dress, did my hair, tried to make me look presentable even as I fought back tears. We arrived at the venue at 11:30. Everything was perfect jungle-themed decorations, beautiful cake, gift table already piling up with presents. Marcus's mom was there early too, helping arrange things, and the look she gave me told me she knew. Somehow, she knew her son wasn't coming. Noon arrived, and with it, the guests. Friends, family, co-workers all smiling, excited to celebrate, all asking, "Where's Marcus?" My excuses got weaker with each telling. He's running late. He got called into work. He's not feeling well. People started exchanging looks. My phone remained silent. The party proceeded in this bizarre, tense state. Games were played half-heartedly. Food was eaten. Gifts were opened with forced enthusiasm. My sister tried to keep things moving, to distract from the obvious absence, but it was like trying to ignore an elephant in the room. It was during the gift opening that I broke down. Someone had bought us not just me, but us matching mom and dad coffee mugs. Such a simple thing, but it hit me like a truck. I excused myself to the bathroom and sobbed uncontrollably, mascara streaming down my face, gasping for air between heaving cries. My mom found me there. She didn't ask questions, just held me while I fell apart. When I could finally speak, the truth came tumbling out, not all of it. Not the part about DeAndre, but enough. How I'd told Marcus I'd only married him for the baby. How he'd left. How I'd been so cruel to someone who'd only ever been kind to me. She didn't scold me or tell me what a fool I'd been. She just sighed deeply and said, "Oh, Shaniqua, some words you can't take back, baby girl. Some bridges once burned, stay ashes." We sat on the bathroom floor of that event space, me in my baby shower dress, surrounded by jungle decorations and half-open gifts, understanding for the first time the true cost of my actions. The weeks after the baby shower were a blur of unanswered calls, sleepless nights, and growing dread. Marcus's lawyer contacted me 3 days after he left. Divorce papers arrived a week later. He was offering a generous child support arrangement, shared custody, and wanted nothing from our short marriage except his personal belongings. The papers sat on my coffee table for days, while I tried to process how my life had imploded so completely. I tried reaching out to DeAndre, thinking maybe something good could come from this mess. His response was quick. "Sorry to hear that, but I'm actually seeing someone now." All those messages, all those promises about how we were meant to be together gone, the minute I became a complicated single mom instead of a forbidden fantasy. My due date approached with no sign of reconciliation. Marcus would respond to texts about doctor's appointments or baby preparations, but nothing personal. He'd relocated to his brother's place across town and was looking for his own apartment. His mom still checked on me occasionally, bringing food or baby items, but there was a coolness there now, a polite distance that hurt more than outright rejection would have. The gossip was brutal. Everyone had their version of what happened. Some blamed Marcus for abandoning his pregnant wife. Others, those closer to the situation, knew enough to put the blame squarely on me. Friends took sides. Social media became a minefield. I lost my appetite, struggled to sleep, and spent most evenings alone, staring at the nursery Marcus had so lovingly prepared. My daughter, Zaria, arrived 2 weeks early. 20 hours of labor, and Marcus was there, not in the delivery room, but in the waiting area. He came in after she was born, held her with such tenderness it broke my heart all over again, then quietly left. No dramatic reconciliation, no forgiveness just because a baby arrived. The damage was too deep, the trust too shattered. Coming home alone with a newborn to an apartment filled with memories of a marriage I'd destroyed was the hardest thing I've ever done. My mom stayed with me for 2 weeks, but eventually, she had to go back to her life. The reality of single motherhood hit like a tsunami, the sleepless nights, the constant demands, the crushing loneliness of it all. Marcus was a good father from the start. He scheduled regular visits, never missed child support payments, bought everything Zaria needed, and more. But between us, there was only polite distance. No co-parenting bonding, no friendly chats, just the minimum communication necessary to raise our daughter. Sometimes, during handoffs, I'd catch him looking at me with this expression I couldn't quite read. Not hatred, not love, something more complicated, like he was trying to recognize the person he thought he knew. I'd want to say something, to apologize again, to beg for another chance, but pride and shame would keep me silent. On Zaria's first birthday, we managed a civil joint celebration. Watching him with our daughter so patient, so loving, I finally understood the magnitude of what I'd thrown away. Not just a husband, but a partner. Not just financial support, but true partnership. While I was busy resenting the life I thought was trapping me, I'd missed the beautiful things growing right in front of me. The hardest part isn't the practical struggles of single motherhood, though those are real. It's knowing that I had someone who genuinely loved me, who would have done anything for our family, and I tossed it aside like it meant nothing. It's facing the fact that my daughter will grow up with parents who live separately because of my choices. It's living with the knowledge that one moment of cruel honesty changed the course of multiple lives forever. And it's understanding, finally, that some mistakes can't be undone, no matter how much you wish you could turn back time.